Have you begun to reimagine what you want for your life? What's going on, guys? DrSean here, author of Discover Choice. You know, we like to have conversations on how you can win and how we can win together on this channel. Now, you'll recall I'm a physician, I'm a neurologist, I work in hospitals. I specifically enjoy seeing people who have had, let's say, an event. It's a neurological event. Sometimes they've passed out, sometimes they've had a seizure, sometimes they've had a stroke, sometimes they've had what we call a syncopal episode. Usually what has occurred is there is a critical episode, some acute episode, and it is the culmination of a chronic condition that has been going on for quite some time. And we get a chance to help people for their acute episode. Sometimes it's a stroke, it's a seizure, it's one thing or another. But then the big question is, what is it that we can do going forward? Now, I'm just giving you a little background as to what this channel is about, okay? So we have discussions going forward, and many times people are so stricken by what has occurred that the main thing they want to do, and I don't blame them, is to prevent that episode from happening again. Now, what can happen is that our whole life can go into prevention mode. And in this regard, we will not enjoy living from day to day. We won't reach our finest, we won't reach our best, and we won't even strive for that next set of levels that we can get to. And so what I like to do is to focus on health promotion. And specifically what I'm asking you to do today is to reimagine what it is you want for your health, your life, for your family's life, going forward. Reimagine what it is you want for your life. Now, if you look around, a lot of what you have around you, where you live, how you live, what you're driving, do you drive, where you work, your entire lifestyle is something that perhaps you imagined before. And so you are actually living your dream. Congratulations. Now, what I'm asking you today is to consider reimagining, to consider dreaming another dream for your tomorrows to come and for your family's tomorrows to come. Now, why are we having this discussion today? Well, I think it's always a good time to reevaluate, to reimagine what it is that we want for our future. However, today, these days in particular, it's very important to figure out what it is, to reimagine, to go on offense and figure out what it is we want for ourselves. Now, the alternative, if we don't figure out what we want for ourselves, is to be on defense. And then suddenly the world is changing, technology is changing, people are changing, politics are changing, our democracy is changing. All these things are changing, and then we will be forced to figure out how we are going to react to those changes. And so if we can be proactive and figure out what exactly it is that I want for myself, well then we will still need to make adjustments. However, we will know where we are going. So I want you to reimagine what it is that you want for yourself, for your life, for your health, for your welfare, your family's well-being. Figure out what it is. Really reimagine what that is, okay? Now, I want to caution you that sometimes we have a tendency to be vague. Sometimes a person will say, well, I want to be healthier. Well, what does that mean? All right. Figure out what it looks like, what you'll be doing, how you'll enjoy it, how it will feel, how it will smell. Really get that image in your mind as to what it is you want. Now, aside from being too vague, many times, most often, we are also too modest. We underestimate how well we can do. So don't be too vague, don't be too modest, be ambitious when you start to think about what it is, when you start to reimagine what it is you want for your life, your family's life, your health, your well-being, your relationships. No, don't be vague and don't be too modest. Be bold, be ambitious when you start to reimagine this. Now, the next thing I want to recommend is to redesign, okay? What we want to do then is redesign the steps, redesign how we'll get from where we are to where we want to be, redesign in our mind. Some of the things that we'll be doing to get where we want to go, they won't be what we're doing right now. We want to redesign all of that, okay? Now, this is a fun aspect, actually. How do we want to get there? Do we want to look like we are struggling? Do we want to get there nice and smoothly? Do we want to take one huge, big, bold step? I don't recommend that necessarily. I recommend consistency, some small steps that we start today and that we do every day and that will gradually get us to where we want to go and make gradual adjustments, okay, as we start to what it is that we are doing on a daily basis that will get us where we want to go. And then finally, what I want to recommend and talk to you about today, and this is the most important. Now, I can't say it's really the most important. That first step, if we don't reimagine what we want, well, then none of this is going to be that impactful. But after we reimagined and we started to redesign how we're going to get where we want to get, what style, what fashion, well, then what we want to do is realignment. Focus on realignment. Now, what does that mean? Now, we need to have a good attitude, a positive attitude. We can't think and have a negative attitude and go forward and enjoy it at the same time. We want to have a positive attitude with what we are doing. So align a positive attitude. We want to align thoughts, align our activity, our actions. We want to align our habits, our communities that we are hanging out with. We want to be aligned with the proper communities that are indeed involved in what we have reimagined for ourselves. This is huge, actually, aligning with communities. That's what this community is about, actually. As we start to figure out what it is we want for ourselves, I want you to be aligned here and keep your eyes open, because all we're talking about is health promotion here. We're talking about being on offense. So I think this is a great place for you to be. I think about this every day. I think about this all day. What can I say that's healthy? What can I say that's positive? What can I say that's forward thinking, that's thought leadership oriented? All right. So join in on this particular community. We want to be aligned. All right. Now, another, and this is huge, okay, is to be aligned with universal principles. We don't talk about universal principles as much as we should. And what I'm talking about are principles of oneness, principles of the law of vibration, the law of action, the law of attraction. I mean, these are things that don't change. That's why they are principles. That's why they are laws. They are consistent. They've always been here. They're everywhere all the time. All right. Our democracy can change. Our politics can change. The weather can change. The people around us can change. All sorts of things can change. However, these are principles. These are laws. These are the lighthouse in terms of helping us to get where we want to go. So we want to align what it is we want and what it is we are imagining for ourselves with principle also. I hope you can hear what I'm saying today. There are a lot of things going on. This is a time of uncertainty, and we are seeing some things in our world, some things in our countries, some things in our personal lives. Turn on the news. We scroll on social media. We are seeing some things that we have never seen before. And so there's a time of chaos, and we have to figure out how we are going to move forward. Now, I'm not talking about being in reactive mode. I'm not talking about resisting here. I'm not talking about being on defense here. You never hear me talking about being on defense here. I'm always talking about being on offense. That is why I am encouraging you to reimagine what it is you want for your life, because that is offense. All right, now, if you think that somebody can hear this message, and if you think that they can hear it, okay, share it with them, invite them into this community, follow closely along as things are taking place and as things are, sort of happening, restructuring, if you will, in our lives. Let's figure out how we should move together, how we can move together, how we can win, and how we can keep winning. Take care, guys.